Krixlap T'zura adjusted her ergonomic chair for the 17th time in the last hour, which still wasn't enough to accommodate her species' uniquely curved spine. The Galactic Confederation outpost Backwater 7 wasn't exactly known for its creature comforts, or for anything else, really. Being stationed at the absolute edge of civilized space meant that design considerations for the 17 different species that might rotate through were, at best, an afterthought. She sighed dramatically, causing her breathing flaps to flutter in a way that her species considered deeply unprofessional. Not that anyone was around to notice. The midnight shift in the sensor array room was a special kind of purgatory. 8 uninterrupted hours of staring at screens that never changed. BLRP, what's the current statistical probability of anything interesting happening during this shift? Krixlap asked, carefully filing down the keratin growth on her 17th nail, the tiny, rarely used one tucked beneath her wrist membrane. The spherical AI assistant hovered nearby, its casing changing from a professional blue to an empathetic purple. Calculating, Junior Technician T'zura. Based on historical sensor data from this quadrant, chance of anomalous readings is approximately 0.0000372%. The AI paused. Would you like me to calculate the odds to additional decimal places? Please don't, Krixlap muttered, blowing keratin dust onto the pristine sensor console. Remind me again why I took this posting? BLRP's tone brightened. You specifically requested Outpost Backwater 7 after Professor Zilnax suggested it would provide optimal experience in practical applications of xenobiological detection methodologies, with, and I quote from your application essay, unprecedented opportunities for first contact scenarios in unexplored space. Krixlap snorted, a sound her species evolved to express derision. 3 years! BLRP. 3 years of scanning empty quadrants and writing reports so boring that I'm convinced no one has ever read them. Professor Zilnax is probably laughing in his retirement pod right now. She spun her chair to face the main sensor array, absently tapping the authentication sequence that logged her mandatory system check. Glowing green circles confirmed what she already knew. Absolutely nothing was happening in Sector 7 to 12 to 12 to R. Again. I believe, BLRP offered helpfully, that the last anomalous reading in this sector was registered 74 cycles ago, when a comet with unusual mineral composition triggered the valuable resource protocol. And even that turned out to be a sensor glitch, Krixlap reminded the AI, pulling up her personal device and launching her 4th consecutive game of Stellar Crush. The mindless puzzle game featured cartoon stars that made scientifically inaccurate noises when matched together, exactly the intellectual stimulation required for the midnight shift. BLRP, did I ever tell you about my classmate Gritsnik? He got assigned to the Centauri diplomatic station. Centauri, do you know what they have there? 26 different species of sentient life forms coming through daily. Meanwhile, I'm here matching cartoon stars and filing my... An alarm suddenly blared through the sensor room, a harsh, pulsing sound Krixlap had never heard before. It was nothing like the standard proximity alerts or system warnings she'd memorized during training. This one had a distinctive pattern, 3 sharp tones, followed by a deeper pulse that seemed to vibrate through her exoskeleton. Krixlap dropped her nail file, which clattered across the console. What in the 17 moons is that? BLRP's casing had shifted to an alarmed red. Activating Emergency Protocol Theta 9, this is the Human Detection Protocol alarm. Krixlap stared at the AI in disbelief. The what protocol? Human Detection Protocol, BLRP repeated calmly. Section 47.3 of the Sensor Technician Manual, subsection on mythological species, contingencies. Mythological. Krixlap choked on her own breathing flap. BLRP, is this some kind of joke? Everyone knows humans don't exist. Sensor readings indicate a 97.3% match to theoretical human vessel configurations. BLRP continued, unperturbed. Protocol requires immediate notification of Sector Command. Krixlap laughed nervously. Nice try. Which engineer programmed this prank? Was it Vetzvite from maintenance? This has his sense of humor all over it. The alarm continued blaring as a visual appeared on the main screen. A small, oddly designed ship, unlike anything in the Confederation registry. This is not a drill or a prank, Junior Technician T'zura. Krixlap insisted. I am detecting a human ship on radar. Krixlap's 17 fingers froze above her game. For the first time in 3 years, something interesting was happening during her shift. Something impossible. Override alarm! Authorization T'zura J7, Krixlap shouted over the blaring siren, frantically pulling up the station's emergency protocols manual on her console. The noise abruptly cut off, leaving her ear canals ringing. Thank the celestial bureaucracy, she muttered, scrolling through the manual's index. BLRP, where exactly is this so-called human detection protocol? Section 47.3 of the Sensor Technician Manual, subsection on mythological species contingencies. BLRP repeated helpfully, projecting the relevant page onto Krixlap's main screen. Page 2417, it's between Unicorn Identification Guidelines and Procedures for Loch Ness Monster Sightings. Krixlap stared at the screen in disbelief. There it was, an actual official protocol for human detection, complete with technical specifications and response procedures. The manual described humans as bipedal mammals with dangerous levels of curiosity and reckless innovation tendencies. This has to be a joke, Krixlap insisted, her antennae twitching with irritation. Everyone knows humans are mythological creatures. My parental unit used to tell me, if you don't finish your nutrient paste, the humans will abduct you and replace your brain with primitive electronic devices. Krixlap's casing pulsed a gentle blue. I am familiar with 37 distinct cultural variations of human-based threats used to encourage juvenile compliance across Confederation species. However, the sensor reading remains consistent with the theoretical parameters for human vessel design. The signal has maintained stability for 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Krixlap's fingers danced across the diagnostic panel, initiating 3 separate system checks. This is clearly a sensor malfunction, probably cosmic radiation from that pulsar we passed last week. All systems are functioning within normal parameters. BLRP reported after the checks completed. The object maintains position at coordinates 227 Mark 339, approximately 2 light-years from our position. Krixlap slumped in her chair, her exoskeleton creaking in protest. This was a problem. A big, career-defining problem. Let me understand my options here, she said, counting on her primary hand's fingers. Option 1. I report a human ship detection to Central Command. They scramble half the defense fleet, only to discover it's a faulty sensor reading, and I spend the next decade cleaning waste reclamation filters as punishment. That is one potential outcome. BLRP agreed. Option 2, I ignore the reading, and if by some impossible circumstance it actually is a human ship, I become known as the technician who missed first contact with a mythological species, and I spend the next decade cleaning waste reclamation filters as punishment. Also a potential outcome. Krixlap stared at the blip on her sensor screen. After 3 years of mind-numbing boredom, something genuinely interesting had appeared during her shift. Something impossible. Something potentially catastrophic for her career. Something she absolutely had to investigate herself. Jarl asked, are any of the scout vessels currently signed out? The AI hovered closer. Scout vessels are not to be used without direct authorization from Station Commander Vlixis. That's not what I asked, Krixlap said, already pulling up the vessel status report. Scout Vessel 3 is available, perfect. Junior Technician T'zura, protocol requires verification of sensor readings, Krixlap interrupted, pulling up the commander's messaging interface. I'm simply being thorough. Her claws clicked against the console as she composed a message. Commander Vlixis, Routine sensor calibration tests indicate minor discrepancies in Quadrant 227-339, taking Scout Vessel 3 to perform standard manual recalibration procedures as outlined in Maintenance Directive 12BB. Estimated return, 4 standard hours. Respectfully, Junior Technician Krixlap T'zura. There, she said, hitting send with a flourish. No commander in the history of the Confederation has ever questioned a routine sensor calibration test. It's the perfect cover. Too boring to investigate. Bizarre's casing shifted to a concerned orange. This course of action violates at least 7 different regulations. Only 7? Krixlap was already headed for the door. I thought it would be more. Come on, let's go before someone from the morning shift shows up early. 30 minutes later, Krixlap was piloting Scout Vessel 3 toward the mysterious coordinates. BLRP secured in the co-pilot's dock. The small craft hummed efficiently, its engines barely audible, one of the few things she actually appreciated about Confederation engineering. I've prepared a detailed lecture for the engineering department, Krixlap said, rehearsing from a set of notes on her personal device, regarding the inappropriate programming of mythological detection protocols. Do you think that's too aggressive as an opening? Maybe I should start with, while I appreciate your dedication to comprehensive system design. Belapin remained silent, its casing a neutral purple. Or perhaps I should begin with, which one of you scale brains thought it would be funny to program a human detection alarm? She chuckled at her own joke, then frowned when BLRP didn't respond. What's wrong with you? Usually you'd be lecturing me about proper workplace communication protocols by now. We have arrived at the coordinates. BL. Krixlap looked up from her notes. The view screen showed empty space, stars, distant nebulae, the usual cosmic backdrop of nothingness. See, nothing here, just as I thought. Sensor malfunction confirmed, and... The scout vessel suddenly rocked as something decloaked directly in front of them. A small, oddly angular ship with primitive-looking thrusters and what appeared to be actual windows in its hull. Its design was unlike anything in the Confederation registry, with none of the elegant biomimetic curves that characterized modern spacecraft. It was, unmistakably, a vessel of completely alien design. 17 moons preserve us, Krixlap whispered, her prepared lecture forgotten as she stared at the impossible ship. Is that? Confirmed, BLRP replied, its voice unusually quiet. 97.9% match to theoretical human vessel design parameters. Krixlap's third heart began to palpitate. Humans are real? Krixlap stared at the vessel floating before her, its hull a patchwork of materials that looked like they'd been salvaged from at least 3 different technological eras. Exposed conduits ran along its exterior like metallic veins, and what appeared to be manual repair patches dotted its surface. By Confederation standards, it was practically prehistoric, the spacefaring equivalent of a child's drawing brought to life. ARP, are you absolutely certain this is a human ship? Krixlap whispered, as if the beings inside might hear her through the vacuum of space. 99.2% probability, BLRP replied. Design matches theoretical models based on intercepted electromagnetic transmissions from Sol system. Note the inefficient thruster placement and the excessive use of external hardware. It looks like someone built a spaceship out of spare parts and optimism, Krixlap muttered. What's our protocol here? Wait, don't tell me. There's an actual first contact procedure for mythological species in that ridiculous manual? Section 47.3.7. Upon confirmation of human vessel, maintain safe distance and transmit the universal greeting sequence on all frequencies. Would you like me to transmit? Krixlap's antenna twitched nervously. What's the universal greeting sequence? A series of mathematical constants, simple chemical formulas, and basic astronomical data designed to demonstrate intelligence and peaceful intent. Fine, send it, Krixlap said, her 17 fingers nervously drumming against the console. But be ready to execute emergency jump protocols if they respond by shooting or, I don't know, attempting to abduct us for bizarre biological experiments. BLRP emitted the transmission. For 37 agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Then, to Krixlap's horror, the human ship responded. A communication request appeared on her console, accompanied by an unfamiliar data protocol that BLRP hastily translated. "They're requesting visual communication," BLRP announced, its casing shifting to an excited yellow. They appear to use a primitive but functional two-way transmission system. Krixlap frantically patted down her uniform, checking her appearance in the reflective surface of the console. "Do I have nutrient paste on my face? Is my exoskeleton polished? Why am I even worrying about this? They're humans. If they exist at all, they probably won't even understand what they're seeing." "Accept transmission?" BLRP prompted. "Wait, I need to review the first contact protocols. What am I supposed to say? Is there a script? Do I need—" "Transmission accepted," BLRP announced. "You did what?" Krixlap shrieked, but it was too late. The view screen flickered, and Krixlap found herself face-to-face with a creature so bizarre that she nearly activated the emergency thruster button in shock. The being had only two eyes, set in a flat face with a protruding nasal structure. Its skin appeared to be furless aside from the top of its head, which displayed a mane of dark filaments pulled back into some kind of retention structure. Most disturbing of all, it had only 5 digits on each appendage. How did it accomplish anything with so few manipulators? "Hello?" the creature said, its mouth moving in a disconcertingly similar way to many Confederation species. "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the independent salvage vessel Second-Hand Sunrise." Am I actually talking to an alien right now? Holy shit, I'm talking to an actual alien. BLRP translated the unfamiliar language instantly, the words appearing as text across the bottom of Krixlap's screen. "The being identifies itself as Captain Maya Rodriguez," BLRP informed her. "The vessel is designated Second-Hand Sunrise and appears to be a salvage craft." Krixlap could only stare in frozen shock. The human, an actual real human, was speaking rapidly to someone off-screen. "Lee, Prisha, get up here now. It's real." First contact. This is not a drill. The human turned back to the screen, its facial features arranged in what Krixlap's xenobiology training suggested might be an expression of excitement. "We've been trying to make contact for so long, I can't believe it finally happened, and here, of all places." Behind the human captain, 4 more similarly bizarre creatures crowded into view, their expressions ranging from shock to elation. One appeared to be leaking fluid from its visual organs. I am Junior Technician Krixlap T'zura of the Galactic Confederation," Krixlap finally managed, falling back on formal protocol because she had absolutely no idea what else to do. "Your presence in this sector is unexpected." "Unexpected?" Captain Rodriguez laughed, a sharp barking sound that made Krixlap flinch. "We've been broadcasting greeting messages for 70 years. We've launched probe after probe. We've been so loud that we assumed if there was anyone out there, they were deliberately ignoring us." Krixlap's secondary brain finally caught up with the situation. "You mean humans are real, actually real, not a made-up species used to frighten juvenile aliens into proper behavior?" Now all 5 humans were making the barking noise. "Wait, we're your boogeyman?" asked a shorter human with a different colored mane. "That's hilarious. We thought we were alone in the universe. Meanwhile, alien parents are telling their kids, 'Be good or the humans will get you.'" "I don't understand," Krixlap said, trying to process this paradigm-shifting reality. "If humans are real, why has the Confederation classified you as mythological?" Captain Rodriguez's expression shifted. "I have a theory about that. Our ship's sensors have detected some kind of unusual cosmic radiation in this part of space. It seems to interfere with specific communication frequencies, the exact ones we've been using for our broadcasts. We only got through it when our experimental warp drive malfunctioned and dropped us here." Another human, this one with a growth of facial hair, leaned forward. "We're essentially lost. Our warp field collapsed and fried half our systems. We've been drifting at minimal power, hoping to find resources to repair our ship. Finding intelligent life is, well, an unexpected bonus." Krixlap's mind raced. According to every protocol she'd ever learned, she should immediately report this encounter to Central Command. The discovery of a new spacefaring species was a major event, even if that species was supposedly mythological. But something held her back. Perhaps it was 3 years of bureaucratic tedium, or maybe the desperate situation of these strange creatures. Whatever the reason, Krixlap found herself making a decision that would definitely violate more than 7 regulations. "Your ship needs repairs?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "Desperately," Captain Rodriguez confirmed. "We've got life support and minimal propulsion, but our warp drive is completely fried. Without it, we're looking at a 20-year journey back to the nearest human outpost." "There's a repair station at the edge of this sector," Krixlap said, already plotting a course on her navigation system. "I could escort you there." BLRP's casing immediately turned an alarmed red. "Junior Technician T'zura, Confederation protocol strictly forbids unauthorized contact with unverified species. This action would constitute a minimum of 13 violations of—" "Mute audio," Krixlap whispered. BLRP continued lecturing silently, its casing flashing through increasingly urgent colors. "Would this repair station have compatible technology?" Captain Rodriguez asked, hope evident in her voice. "The orbital repair hub services ships from 27 different civilizations," Krixlap explained. "Their adaptive engineering systems can interface with nearly any technology. The bigger challenge will be explaining your presence." "We're good at blending in," offered one of the humans with surprising confidence. Krixlap looked skeptically at their bizarrely symmetrical features, limited digits and strange coloration. "You look nothing like any Confederation species." "We can wear environment suits," Captain Rodriguez suggested. "Claim we're—" "What was your term, unverified species?" "That would trigger an immediate quarantine and investigation," Krixlap replied. "No, I have a better idea. There's a species called the Follop from the Argon Nebula. They're rarely seen outside their homeworld because they require specialized environmental suits to survive in standard atmospheres. You could pretend to be Follop traders." "And you think that would work?" asked the facial-haired human dubiously. "No one questions the Follop," Krixlap assured them. "They're notoriously private and considered extremely boring conversationalists. Most station personnel actively avoid them." Captain Rodriguez grinned, a terrifying display of dental structures that Krixlap tried not to flinch at. "Boring, huh? We can do boring, right, crew?" The other humans nodded with varying degrees of enthusiasm. "Good," Krixlap said, already regretting every life choice that had led to this moment. "Follow my scout vessel, maintain communication silence, and whatever you do, don't let anyone see what you actually look like." As Krixlap ended the transmission and set course for the repair hub, BLRP's casing finally settled on a resigned purple. "I've calculated the probability of this plan succeeding," the AI informed her once audio was restored. "And?" Krixlap asked, not really wanting to know. "You don't want to know," Blub confirmed. Krixlap sighed, her breathing flaps fluttering anxiously. "At least if I end up cleaning waste reclamation filters, I'll have an interesting story about why I'm there." Behind her scout vessel, the impossible human ship, the second-hand Sunrise, powered up its mismatched engines and followed her into the unknown. The orbital repair hub resembled a mechanical sea urchin, with docking spines protruding in all directions and repair drones buzzing about. As they approached, Krixlap realized the flaw in her plan. She had no authorization to bring an unregistered ship to a Confederation facility. After a hasty falsified repair request and some creative paperwork, Krixlap found herself standing in the dimly lit docking bay, watching with growing anxiety as 5 bulky, awkwardly proportioned, fell-up environmental suits emerged from the second-hand Sunrise. Each suit was a patchwork of metallic fabric with poorly stuffed extra fingers, looking less like mysterious alien trader and more like budget costume from a children's show. "Walk slowly," Krixlap hissed through her comm. "Follow-up move with deliberate caution due to their high-density bone structure." Captain Rodriguez gave what might have been a thumbs up, but looked more like an obscene gesture due to the stuffed extra fingers. The procession made it past the bored Flaxian clerk at the repair intake station with minimal questioning. Krixlap's explanation of purchased warp technology and private business ventures was met with disinterest, and they were assigned to Bay 12G with a 16-hour completion estimate. Their relief was short-lived when the station's announcement system boomed. "Attention all personnel, please proceed to the nearest refreshment facility for mandatory recreation period." "What's community bonding hour?" asked Eli from inside his bulky suit after Krixlap explained the mandatory socialization. "A misguided administrative attempt to improve interspecies relations," Krixlap replied through gritted teeth. "Attendance is monitored via biometric scanning." The station's cantina was filled with beings of varying sizes, exchanging awkward pleasantries. For 20 minutes, the humans stood silently in their corner, successfully avoided by other species who respected the Fulop's antisocial reputation. Then disaster struck in the form of an airborne particulate. "Ah, came Maya's muffled voice. "Whatever you're about to do, don't," Krixlap pleaded. "Achoo!" The explosive sound, so alien to Confederation species, silenced the cantina. Every eye and sensory appendage turned toward their corner. "What was that?" demanded a translucent being. "Atmospheric pressure equalization," Krixlap improvised. "Standard follow-up suit function." A security officer, a hulking dravid with armored plating, approached with a scanner. "Identification scan, please." Just as the scanner was about to touch Maya's suit, the station's alarm blared to life. "Emergency alert, Confederation diplomatic vessel under attack. All defense personnel report to stations." In the ensuing chaos, they nearly escaped until Krixlap's supervisor, Administrative Vlixisp, intercepted them with suspicious eye stalks quivering. "Explain your presence with these beings," he demanded. As Krixlap fumbled for excuses, Maya stepped forward. "We couldn't help overhearing about the diplomatic vessel," she said in a modulated voice. "Our ship has defensive capabilities that might be effective against pirate jamming technology." "The pirates disable our weapons before we can target them," Vlixisp. "Our systems operate on completely different principles," Maya insisted. "They wouldn't know how to jam them." As another urgent alert sounded, Vlixisp conceded reluctantly. "Fine. Your assistance is provisionally accepted. But you," he pointed at Krixlap, "will take full responsibility for their actions." "Have you lost your mind?" Krixlap hissed when he left. "Your ship is barely functional." Maya's voice smiled through the suit's distortion. "We humans have a saying, sometimes the best technology is no technology at all. That makes absolutely no sense." "Trust me," Maya said, her ridiculous suit somehow conveying confidence. "We're very good at improvising." The pirate fleet, 5 sleek predatory vessels with glowing weapon ports, surrounded the crippled diplomatic ship like vultures circling wounded prey. Their jamming field pulsed visibly, a shimmering purple distortion that had rendered the Confederation vessel's advanced defensive systems useless. From the command deck of an emergency response cruiser, Krixlap and Administrator Vlixis watched in frustrated horror as their own weapons systems went offline the moment they entered the jamming field's range. 17 systems, all disabled simultaneously, the tactical officer reported. "Communications scrambled, targeting offline, shield modulators frozen." "As expected," Vlixisp muttered. "The Crimson Nebula pirates have been perfecting their jamming technology for decades. Every countermeasure we develop, they adapt to within weeks." Behind them, the 5 humans had shed their ridiculous follow-up disguises, causing initial panic among the Confederation crew until Vlix, pragmatic in crisis, ordered everyone to deal with the revelation later. "So these pirates disabled technology," Maya said, studying the tactical display. "What about non-technological solutions?" Vlix's eye stalks quivered in confusion. "What do you mean, non-technological? This is space combat." "Exactly," Maya grinned. "And you've all become so dependent on your automated targeting systems and energy weapons that you've forgotten the basics." She tapped her communicator. "Ili Prisha, how are the modifications coming?" "We've got 6 ready to launch," came Eli's voice. "Mechanical timers set, trajectory calculations done the old-fashioned way, with math and eyeballs." Vlixis turned all 8 eye stalks toward Krixlap. What are these humans doing? I have absolutely no idea, Krixlap admitted. But at this point, what do we have to lose? The second-hand Sunrise, its mismatched hull now sporting several makeshift external attachments, maneuvered toward the edge of the jamming field. Those pirates are going to detect your approach and target you immediately, Vlixis warned. They can try, Maya replied with disturbing cheerfulness, but their sensors are calibrated for energy signatures and thruster emissions. We've powered down everything but minimal life support and are running on mechanical backup systems. To their sensors, we probably look like debris. The tactical display showed the human vessel drifting toward the pirate fleet. The pirates, focused on the diplomatic ship, didn't react. What exactly is your plan? Krixlap asked nervously. Analog solutions to digital problems, Maya explained. While you evolved toward energy weapons and force fields, Earth remained isolated. We perfected mechanical systems, chemical propellants, and physical projectiles. The second-hand Sunrise silently entered the jamming field. No alarms triggered, no weapons locked on. Now, Maya commanded. 6 objects launched from the human ship. Simple metal canisters propelled by compressed gas. No electronics, no energy signatures, nothing for jamming technology to detect or disable. They sailed through space on pure Newtonian physics, their trajectories calculated by human brains using basic trigonometry. The pirates noticed too late. The canisters detonated against their hulls, not with energy beams, but with shaped explosive charges that tore through their jamming equipment with shrapnel and concussive force. Impossible, Vlixis breathed as the purple distortion field flickered and collapsed. But the humans weren't finished. The second-hand Sunrise suddenly came alive, engines firing in a bizarre, unpredictable pattern that one of the crew called the drunken space trucker. Captain Rodriguez is manually overriding the navigation systems, Prisha explained over the comms. No algorithm, just human reflexes and bad decisions, impossible to predict or counter. The human ship zigzagged between pirate vessels, deploying more mechanical countermeasures. Clouds of metal chaff that fouled sensor arrays, adhesive compounds that gummed up thruster ports, and manually aimed harpoon-like projectiles that tethered 2 pirate ships together, causing them to collide when they tried to pursue different targets. Within minutes, the pirate fleet was in disarray, Confederation systems came back online, and the remaining pirates fled. As the diplomatic vessel was secured, a transmission came through. On screen appeared an elegantly robed figure with luminous skin patterns, denoting the highest governmental rank. "High Chancellor Ziv," Vlixis gasped, all 8 limbs stiffening in formal respect. The Chancellor's gaze moved past him to where the humans stood. "Who," the Chancellor asked with quiet intensity, "are these remarkable beings?" 3 cycles later, Krixlap stood, uncomfortable and fidgeting in the Central Confederation Assembly Hall, as High Chancellor Ziv droned on about historic diplomatic breakthrough and unexpected salvation in our moment of crisis. Instead of the waste reclamation filters she'd expected, Krixlap found herself receiving the Distinguished Service Medallion for facilitating first contact with a previously mythological species of remarkable capabilities. The irony wasn't lost on her. She'd violated at least 37 regulations and was being rewarded for it. Captain Mayo Rodriguez stood beside her in a hastily tailored Confederation ceremonial uniform that didn't quite accommodate human proportions. She'd been officially designated as Earth's first ambassador after a flurry of diplomatic communiques established formal relations with humanity's scattered colonies. Furthermore, Chancellor Ziv announced, we are establishing a new division within the Xenobiological Detection Department. Human Relations and Integration. Junior Technician Senior Administrator T'zura will lead this vital initiative. Krixlap's antennae drooped in horror. But I know nothing about humans, she whispered frantically. That makes you the galaxy's foremost expert, Maya whispered back with a grin. Congratulations on your promotion. 2 days later, Krixlap sat in her new office, surrounded by data tablets containing thousands of historical and cultural documents provided by the humans. She'd been reviewing them non-stop, her confusion growing with each viewing. BLRP, she said weakly. These documentaries contain numerous scientific impossibilities. Humans cannot actually manipulate cosmic forces with their minds, correct? Correct, BLRP confirmed. Visual documentation provided has been categorized as fiction, a concept apparently central to human culture. Fiction, Krixlap repeated the alien word, deliberately creating false accounts of events that never occurred. What possible evolutionary advantage could this serve? The door slid open and Maya entered, carrying more data tablets. How's the cultural immersion going? I'm concerned, Krixlap admitted, gesturing to the screen, where humans in a small spacecraft were placing an explosive device inside a much larger alien vessel. Your species seems pathologically fixated on conflict scenarios with other intelligent life forms. Oh, you're watching Independence Day, Maya laughed. That's just entertainment, not a documentary. We love imagining scenarios where we're the underdogs who triumph through improvisation and stubborn determination. But you destroyed those pirates using similar methods, Krixlap pointed out. Primitive yet unpredictable approaches that circumvented superior technology. Maya shrugged. Coincidence. Besides, we come in peace, usually. As Maya left, Krixlap turned to BLRP. Calculate the probability that humans actually represent the most potentially dangerous species we've encountered, despite their friendly demeanor. BLRP's casing shifted through a rainbow of processing colors before settling on a concerned orange. Based on observed capabilities, psychological patterns and cultural artifacts, 78.3% probability. Krixlap watched the screen as fictional humans celebrated their victory over a technologically superior alien force. She remembered the childhood warnings. If you don't finish your nutrient paste, the humans will abduct you. Perhaps some myths existed for a reason after all.